Hey, Renee, Chris, and Ryan going live. Best podcast, Beauty and the Beast. Sit back and catch a vibe. Oh yeah, we talking zombies and apocalypses and all those things you like. Going beast mode, and if you didn't know, it's Peter Z up on the mic. Whoa, hey, TWD family, grab the snacks about the pantry. And subscribe and like if you can, please. Or those walkers eat you like some candy. Hey, okay. You at the right place at the right time. No one does it better, that's the bottom line. Beauty and the Beast, this is prime time. Let's go.
What's going on, everybody?
Hello. Long time no see.
Right? Things might look a little different. You know, we've cast Chris off the island. I've stolen his computer. We don't need him anymore. Yeah. True, yeah. I turned the tables around. I Otis'd him instead of him Otising me. So, you know, it just, you know.
Hi, Shane.
Right?
If it helps, I was always Team Shane and not Team Chris. Take that as you.
Were you a Team Shane or were you a Team Jon Bernthal? Because those are two very different things.
Ooh, John.
Okay, please. I'm curious as to your reasoning.
I love John.
Mm-hmm.
However, I agree more with Shane's decision making
Mm.
instead of being like, because Rick was like too meek in my opinion. Until like when he started going off the rails, but like in the early days he was too meek, and Shane was like, no, we gotta do this. All right.
That's weird. Apparently, they can't hear what you're saying, Meg.
Yes, they're not hearing you, Meg. Can you
That's
hear
weird.
anyone or just not Meg?
Can they hear Renee?
Can you hear Renee? Looks like now my power.
I'll hear Ryan because he's got the computer.
Renee's really quiet, but I think I'm.
Why does this stuff happen to me?
But let me make sure my mic, because my mic likes to flip.
Is it Tiffy? Tiffy just said that Renee is going in and out.
What in the world? It's on the right microphone. And my power was flicking a little, so we're
No, it's not. It's got to be something with Ryan's settings because we can hear each other.
Mm-hmm.
And Ryan's broadcasting it, so it's something on Ryan.
But it's weird because on OBS I'm streaming everything that I normally do.
Is there that one button that you gotta push? Stand by.
Why can nothing work the way it's supposed to?
It wouldn't be our show if that's how it went.
Oh God, I tell you. All right, can you guys hear anything now?
They're saying that we're really quiet. So if you guys start hearing us talking better, let us know. He's adjusting some things. So we're gonna keep just talking nonsense.
How about now?
How are things now, folks?
What up? What up?
They can hear me now. Meg's talking.
Hey. Testing.
You see, I put a headset on because I was like, oh, maybe it'll be better audio quality because this is an expensive ass headset.
Hey, they can hear me.
And you know what? This is why I don't overachieve. This is why I achieve.
Ryan is fired.
Good. Bye.
Yeah. All right. So good news. I don't. Well, it kind of has to do with the podcast, kind of not. Oh.
They said everything can hurt. They can hear everybody, I think.
I'm going to be figuring out that audio issue because I'm going to be switching streaming on YouTube, which I have to fix that issue. So we'll be okay if I ever have to do it again, which I'm starting to think I probably should be doing that. No.
All right. So what I'm understanding, I think everyone can hear everyone now, maybe. So
Yeah.
Cool. Basically, all you guys missed was that Chris got eaten by a walker, and I was Team Shane, not Team Rick. So
yeah,
you caught up. Oh,
yes.
And Team Jon Bernthal, which I think all of us are.
I actually,
oh yeah,
I fell down a rabbit hole online that I kind of love, but I'm a big comic book fan, always have been, right? So everybody knows Punisher, and everybody knows Ghost Rider, right? There's a character called Cosmic Ghost Rider. And Cosmic Ghost Rider is Punisher with the Ghost Rider spirit inside of him.
How galactic.
And he looks badass. And so someone said that because they've confirmed that Jon Bernthal is going to be in the Daredevil TV show that's coming out at some point, and they've also confirmed that at some point Ghost Rider is going to be making an appearance in MCU, that there's a potential that we could see Cosmic Ghost Rider, which I'm so excited for because I feel like Jon Bernthal would kill it as Cosmic Ghost Rider.
Wait, what happened to all those rumors about Norman Reedus being
Ghost Rider? I haven't heard anything else on it recently.
Yeah, same. That's why I was
been-
curious.
Yeah, they've talked about that forever, so who knows? And then Pi wants to know about this rabbit hole you fell in. She wants to know how big these rabbits are. They're digging these holes that the humans are falling into.
They were. I live in New York, so unfortunately, all the animals in New York
They're
can grow
muted.
bigger. The average rat in New York City is about a pound, apparently. So do with that information what you will.
It's all that pizza they're eating.
I'm saying,
Yeah.
See, and I'm short, so it doesn't take a deep of a hole to get me into it. So
true. I'm only 5'8", so I don't know. It's pretty average height. So I don't know.
All right.
Guys.
Well,
we have a lot of catching up to do with fear.
yeah.
You guys have a lot of catching up to do with fear. Let me be
Right. I'm out.
let me be very clear that I did not watch any of last season, and I watched one episode of this season. And from what multiple people have told me, it's probably the worst episode of this season that I watched.
It
So
was. And technically, you kind of know. Well, you knew the first episode because Renee and I give you very detailed.
oh no,
description.
1,000%. I just didn't watch it.
Basically,
So
watched it.
We basically watched it.
pretty much.
It's like storytelling. You can envision it with your own eyes.
Yeah.
And you're
So that we've had 5 episodes. The 6th one you can watch on AMC tomorrow. There'll be the mid-season finale. You can watch on AMC Plus tomorrow. Sunday night it'll be on AMC after Dead City premiere, which is odd because I have a feeling their viewership will be down. But anyway, that's my opinion.
No, I think they're hoping that the viewership from Dead City is going to piggyback onto this. It's not going to.
No, it's not. They should have done it. They should have kept it the way they had. They should have had Fear first and then Dead City because
Yeah.
people would have tuned in then
For the
stayed.
hype.
But
Yeah.
whatever. So anyway, Ryan, they're asking. Ryan watched the episode, the Padre reveal. Is the
Yep.
one Ryan
That
watched.
was episode 3.
No,
Okay,
and you know what, Zay? I'm sorry, but to what you just said, I'll enjoy the show when it's worth enjoying. And
I agree with that.
And that's coming from somebody that is a true fan of The Walking Dead. And I'm not saying I'm better than anybody because I'm not. But what I am saying is that we were talking about this on our pre-show. The showrunners are so disconnected from the fan base at this point in regards to Fear the Walking Dead that it upsets me. Because The Walking Dead has been part of my life for 12 years now. And I'm only critical of it because I love it and I want to see it thrive. And what they're doing, if they continue this trajectory into the other shows, which thankfully from everything I've heard from people who've seen the first episode of Dead City, that is not the case. Apparently it is revitalizing their hope in the franchise. But if they continue on the trajectory that Fear the Walking Dead has been on for 3 seasons, that's going to sink the boat. And that's what I'm afraid of.
And I said this in our pre-show. The showrunner should have been canned after season 5.
Yeah.
They had no experience, barely any experience. I was looking it up. They only did like one show really before Fear. They're unqualified to the extreme, and it makes me wonder what their goal, what like the Scott and Gimbel's and Galen and Hurd's goals were with letting them continue to be part of the show for 4 years now.
Mm-hmm. And like we talked to, they've got stellar actors in this series. They have got Lenny James, and, these people who are very, very good actors, and they should be doing more with them, and they're not.
Yep.
And whenever I've enjoyed parts of this season, and I will say it's miles above season 7.
Yeah.
Miles above. But they just don't utilize the talent that they have. They've got all these actors who are, could do extraordinary things, and they don't utilize them. Like right now, we're missing how many characters? We haven't seen Strand. We haven't seen And we haven't seen anybody. There's a whole other half of the cast we haven't seen anything from.
Yep.
Where they should. It just doesn't make sense. But the one you watched, I liked the backstory of Padre. I liked learning, that it was in fact set up as, for Ryan and that didn't know, Padre was rumored to be set up by the government as this, for when catastrophes happened, the government had supplies and resources and everything and instructions on how to rebuild after a big,
kind of like FEMA.
Yep.
Yeah. It's just a different, with the military personnel and all that. So,
Yep.
it did confirm that at one point it was set up. That is what it was set up. But then these kids twisted it to their weird whatever that they changed it into this children abduction organization and everything. So that part to me was very interesting. I thought it was, I compared it to like the Wizard of Oz, like the behind the curtain, and then he's got this ha ha voice, and then they, go, and it's this little boy, he's not menacing at all. He's not, this, Ben or whatever. Yeah, I mean, he's just this little punk kid, and so I thought it was, I used to build it up as this big bad, and then that to be what it is. I mean, Shrike, I think she's pretty intimidating, and I think she could do, I think she can do some stuff if she puts her mind to it. I really believe she can be.
Well, if she can stop getting knocked out, she can do some damage.
Yeah. Every episode, she gets knocked out. It's like, what is going on? This poor gal's got brain, issues now.
I think 4 out of 5 episodes she has been knocked out. I think only one. I think that episode that Ryan watched, Padre. I think that was the only episode she wasn't knocked out on. I think. I don't know.
Yeah, I forget.
But no, she's basically been in a coma the entire season.
So
but she's terrifying.
But so I'm trying to follow questions here too. But so what was the kid? So the kids, Mitchell, that was a COVID thing. Their parents did not want them, so they introduced them and they had a story lined up for them. Then COVID hit, and their parents didn't want them on set during COVID and even during after COVID. So that was because they were children and things like that. So. I mean, it would have been really cool. My thought, I wrote an article, Megan and I talked about it. I wrote an article as soon as Padre was announced that they were stealing children. I wrote an article that night saying the kids could be at Padre. And I thought how cool that would be to reintroduce them now that, COVID restrictions have lifted.
We talked about that during the trailer.
Yep.
Yeah. But I had wrote but as soon as Madison said that's what they're doing that night, I wrote that article that night and said that would be really cool that they would be at Padre. So obviously they're not, but that would have been cool. But that's why Mitchell with the kids.
Now, do you think that with the connection being made clear between Padre and the military and the government by proxy, do you think that strengthens the theory that Padre is associated with the CRM?
Nah, I don't think they have anything to do with them.
It is so off in left field compared to the rest of the Walking Dead universe.
Initially we all thought, that's what they're doing. They're training these kids up to send them to the CRM. That's exactly what the majority of people thought. But just the way they're revealing it now and the way it's so, because even the location of it's so stupid. It doesn't even make sense and everything. I wrote an article about that too, because that's been ticking me off. But, it would be a real stretch for that to happen. I mean, I suppose it could, but I just don't think so at this point.
Yeah, fair enough.
But I think part of me wants this to be wrapped up after episode 6 and have the remaining 6 to be kind of the rest of them coming together and concluding the story, because there's a lot of stories they have to wrap up.
Even Kira just said that
7 years, So, but something tells me it's not going to be.
Yeah, I'm really. Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen. And we've got people. You got Charlie and Luciana. Like he said things. Yeah, and he said things that kind of. Daniel said things like, alluding to the fact they could have died, but at the same time, are we going to get to hear if they did? With Charlie, we wouldn't be surprised, but if they did, are we going to get to see the story or hear anything about that? Or whatever. And so, can you guys hear that?
Mm-mm.
Is that hail I'm hearing?
It is hailing and thundering and.
Dang.
I can't hear it. I don't know.
Crazy weather. We were in a tornado warning at like 6 o'clock tonight. So now it's the hail.
Yeah, we had like a quarter size hail, and it was like somebody posted a picture outside the window. It looked like somebody had like rocks, and it was just hail. It was like a whole thing.
Well, we have a metal roof right here, so and like outside my window, so it's like doesn't help any. So sorry if it's very loud.
I thought maybe like it was birds chirping like outside my window, but it wasn't until you said it, I was like, oh, okay.
No, anyway, sorry. And the trees are out there just glowing. But anyway.
It'll be interesting because there's, 12 episodes total for the season? Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
There's 6 and 6?
6 in the second half.
You have 7 episodes left, right? So, that's...
Including Sunday, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. You have 7 episodes to wrap up a lot of story.
Yeah.
Exactly what
and characters and The Walking Dead did a wonderful job of wrapping that up.
But it was still rushed.
Yeah, it was rushed. But at least I felt like we did get good conclusions for a lot of stuff. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. And then like this whole King County. Everybody was so excited about King County, the episode and everything. And I liked a lot of it. But I felt like it was almost just a thing to get Walking Dead fans to watch Fear the Walking Dead.
I can see that.
It was kind of it was good to, have Morgan go back and finish his, he needed to have that, he needed to put his family to rest. He needed to do that. And it was interesting to finally find out what happened to Dwayne and what happened with Morgan. And because we only got part of the story in The Walking Dead. We never did get the full story of what happened. And it was good for him to share that with Grace and Mo and have that, he needed that for healing. He needed that,
Yeah.
And he felt he couldn't be the father he needed to be for Mo because he never, put his son to rest, so he felt like as a father he had failed. And, in an apocalypse, I think it's hard to be a good parent anyway, and so I don't know.
Yeah, just ask Rick.
What?
I said just ask Rick.
Yeah, exactly. You do what you can, right? But, yeah, so, yeah, anyway, it was, I don't know, the episode was, I know a lot of people really loved it, but I just kind of felt like it was, they just did it to bring back, tie it to the original Walking Dead to try to get some of the Walking Dead fans that don't watch Fear to watch Fear the Walking Dead, because they thought something crazy was going to happen and he was going to reunite with Rick or something, which... I don't know why they thought that was going to happen, because
in the trailer they showed Grace, they showed mentioning of Rick, and it showed the gun that Rick had given
but
him.
Rick wasn't in Georgia. Yeah,
exactly. We all know
years.
I had read something that part of it I like that he got to go back to King County because it kind of Lenny James said he's done playing Morgan after Fear, so it was a kind of a way to wrap up his story too. Or, just some, fill in the gaps.
Yeah.
I read this thing about Dwayne, and actually it got me really sad when I read it. It said that Dwayne spent more time unalive than he did alive. And I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Like that really got me.
Yeah.
I was really sad when I read that.
Yeah, and it was the cool thing, if you didn't know too, that the actors, they came back and did those parts. So I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, Mitch was pointing out. That's pretty cool.
Seeing Jenny in the title card.
Yeah, I know that was cool.
Cool.
Because if you looked, it looked almost like Grace.
It did.
Because I was like, wait a minute, what am I looking at here? My brain was like, I thought I was looking at Jenny, but then for a second I was like, wait a minute, that could be Grace.
Hold on.
So I'm sure it was Jenny. It was Jenny for sure, but
it was Jenny.
Yeah, but my brain just kind of made that connection. So,
well, based on what happens in the following episode, yeah, it's easy to see why you think. So mad at that episode.
So I'm trying to read questions here too to see if anybody said anything since I was gabbing.
But that's all we do is gab.
I will say the intro music for this season is pretty good. I actually do like it.
Well, that's how they did that. That was in 7 too. They did those cards like that,
which is short, sweet.
Yeah, and they're very like if you pause it, you see so much.
Yeah,
so many episodes. Yeah, yeah. So they are very cool. But they did start that in 7, so that was really awesome. Short and sweet, and very
Yep.
But I like that it. No, go ahead.
I'm just was typing. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, so it kind of like gives you clues on like, so like, you know, you see the title card, you see little Easter eggs, and then you go back and rewatch the episode after. You look at it, and it's like, oh wait, I noticed that in the episode, but I didn't realize it now.
Yeah,
it kind of gives it some rewatchability.
Yeah,
yeah.
If it has any.
Get out.
All right.
Yeah.
Bye. Have fun.
So, end of the show.
All right. Bye.
Oh, geez.
Don't mind me. I'm real ornery today.
You're what?
Ornery.
I gotta say though, I never thought. Now you guys know how I feel about Morgan.
Yep.
I never thought in a million years a Morgan-centric episode would be my favorite of the season. I never, like, because King County, I remember I was texting Renee during it. And I was like, what? I was freaking out. It was like episode 2, but I know we have like a lot of episodes to cover. So I'm just going to be very quick with this. Episode 2, certain parts felt like filler, but then when they had Shrike with the walker and what's the kid's name? Finch? Lost my shit. 3 sucked. I did like seeing Shrike as like a teenager, quote unquote, even though all he did was give her braids. 4, phenomenal, but at times felt like filler. And 5, I got mad a lot.
You know, I like what Takira just said, because she said, I feel like they just didn't care what they put out, and our actors had to do the best with the crap they were given. And we talked about that on the pre-show. Yep.
Yeah. I say whenever I always want to let people understand that when I critique Fear the Walking Dead, I am never ever coming down on the talent of the actors in this series. It is the showrunners.
Yep. And you know what? If you've been attending the camp for the past couple of years, you know, we've said this to numerous people that we've interviewed on the panels, that, you know what, I might not like your character, but I also know that's not you. I know that you portrayed that character the way the character was written to the best of your abilities. And, you know, we said it to, you know, Xander Berkeley. As much as I hated Gregory, I thought he was a little shit. And I thought that some of his story was not well written. And I think that some things could have been elaborated better with his character development. But I also know that he was a phenomenal actor, and he did a great job of playing a shitty character. You know?
He made
it's not their fault.
What he had.
Yep, 1,000%.
Yeah, and it's like I'd say, like, I don't like Morgan, I don't like Rick. I think Lenny James and Andrew Lincoln are phenomenal actors.
Yeah, absolutely.
I just hate their characters.
Yep, and that's why I will always go out of my way to watch the other things that they're in.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're a comic book fan like I am, I was very much immersed in the CW Arrowverse shows of the DC comic books. They had The Flash, they had Arrow, they had Supergirl. Xander Berkeley was in an episode of Supergirl, and it was a very cool episode because it dealt with xenophobia, and basically he in that same season, aliens had just been outed to the rest of humanity as being on their Earth. And there was all different races of aliens that were there that were basically seeking asylum on Earth. And the government granted it to them. But Xander Berkeley played basically like a xenophobe, like somebody who hated aliens. And it was a very cool, dynamic comparison between like xenophobia in the show, but it was meant to show dialogue between racism in real life nowadays. And it was specifically set up in certain ways that you could see, like, when you're watching it, you knew what it was really about. And by the end of the episode, he kind of realized, he looked at Supergirl and he goes, "You're an alien, and I don't like aliens, but I can appreciate what you've done for me." And it was kind of like, just the way he played the character was very emotional and very, very heartfelt. And I was like, that's the Xander Berkeley that we met. You know what I mean? It's not Gregory. Gregory the
I love you. It's never an episode of our show without a comic book rant, a supernatural rant, or a paranormal rant.
That's what I do here.
I love you for that. I love that.
That's what I mean. You know what? I have it right here. Nope, wrong. See, it's inversed. I have, you know, Matt Ryan and Kirk Acevedo right down here from their appearances on Arrow. You know,
it only took 25 minutes for this ramble, so I mean.
Okay, first of which, it took about 3. Okay, about 3, Meg. All right.
Wait, 3 what?
You know what? Don't make me bring up stories about the golf cart ride in Peachtree City, okay?
No, I'm saying I think it's adorable.
Yeah,
that every episode you go on a ranch.
Uh-huh.
And I know it's very admirable tree.
We could turn these tables very quickly, Meg. I love you. I love you to death. I love you to death.
The golf cart died on us, and we had to walk a half mile down a highway at midnight.
Yeah, no big deal.
I was going, and we said we were going to get cocaine bear, but I had the key, and they let me walk all the way behind them because they're fast walkers, and I'm slow and fat. But I had the key, so if I died, they were fucked.
You know, we'll figure it out. I had to say my 2 cents, but you know what? It makes time go quick, so whatever.
Never said anything wrong.
I'm just reading messages. Don't mind me.
Chris.
No, Meg. You know what? I don't want to go on any more of my tangents. So please feel free to leave the podcast. Please feel free.
No, I think it's adorable.
We don't have
How many times did I say it's adorable?
we don't have Christopher at the helm today. Okay, so I just kind of had to play that role. You know.
I'm saying I think it's cute because I know how much you love comic books. I know how much you love it. So I like that even though we're talking all about like Walking Dead and stuff, you're still finding ways to incorporate it. And I think I like that because we all have, even though, we're talking about Fear the Walking Dead universe, we all have interests outside of it. Like me with video games, Renee, her Funkos and horror behind her, Ryan with his comics. I love that we all can find a way to bring
absolutely. I'm only busting your chops, of course.
So with that said, oh god, I'm really itchy all of a sudden.
Yeah, it'd be a real shame if you got kicked out of the Zoom meeting, wouldn't it?
I'm still playing video games, so I mean.
All right.
Okay, so Ryan, do you know that June is working on a radiation treatments to stop the spread of the virus?
I did not know that.
Yes. So that's another thing that happened.
All right.
Yeah.
You want me to go on my soapbox for a second here?
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't one of the things that was said originally about The Walking Dead that at no point would it be about the cure or slowing?
This isn't a cure.
I'm not saying it is. I'm not saying it is. But it's to stop the spread, yes?
Well, it's stop the spread when somebody gets bit.
Oh, okay, so you're effectively curing the disease.
So, no, because when Herschel gets bit, they were able to amputate it. Where Grace got bit, they couldn't amputate it, so they would use radiation to stop it.
That's not, but cutting up, but doing an amputation is not curing it. If I get bit on the chest, you're not gonna cut off this side of my chest.
But they can put they're trying to anyway. It's absurd. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
This isn't going to be a cure. It's supposed to be a treatment so that if you're bit and you can't amputate, then you won't turn.
Wait, Chris, shut the fuck up. Chris, what are you doing in the chat but not in the video?
Because he have his computer.
No, he can get on
Get on his phone, lazy ass.
Send you the link. Chris, push Zoom on your phone on the link, and then you can get on the podcast.
His lazy ass.
So anyway, that's what. Yeah, they have June doing that, and so far it's not working ish. So anyway, I just thought you'd like to know
what the
that.
hell just happened?
Sherry.
Oh, hold on. Why did that happen? I don't know. I give up.
Oh,
he's driving. That's why.
Oh, okay.
That's worse than typing.
So yeah, so let's
I guess that's acceptable.
That's better. Yeah.
When last week when June was on the walkie with Mo, and they're like basically saying, fever's back, it's not working, and you just see the light in Dwight and Sherry's faces just die out, and I felt so bad for them, especially with everything they've been through.
I guess what bothers me about that, about like not curing the disease, but stopping the spread, it's just that like you've effectively removed the one thing that made The Walking Dead The Walking Dead. I mean, that is the one thing that like kind of like hovers or looms around, like that you at any minute you could be bit. And like to Mitchell's point, if that was the case, you could just cut off Carl's chest and he would have been fine. You know what I mean? Like to me, like
it's a good thing the radiation doesn't work then.
True. I'm just saying, but going down that path to me, it's just dumb. To me, it doesn't make any sense. It's almost No, I was just saying it's almost the equivalent of Ellie in The Last of Us taking her blood and rubbing it in what's his name's wound. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
mean, look, I know they kind of said outright, like, they're never going to try to go after the cure. But if you think about it, in a more, take away the fact that they said that. In a real apocalypse, and if real life, you would try to look for a cure. So I feel like it kind of humanized it a little bit.
Yeah, but the way they're doing it, okay, so you have...
It's all wrong how they're going about
You
it.
have Shrike and Crane who are trying to get these kids never to go through the worst loss of their lives and experience and blah blah blah. But we're going to use these children. We're going to have them bit. We're going to inflict the bites on them. They're not just... You're going to make them get bit. We're going to have these heads on these mechanical things, bite them, let June experiment on them, and then at the same time, we're going to send them into this horde of walkers to be killed so that we can go get these coordinates or whatever I don't even know what they're looking for at this point, the food, to get the supplies and whatever it is they're looking for. But they, none of it makes any sense.
No, I agree. The way they're going about it is all wrong, but the logic behind it, like, I get it. But they just... did it really badly.
Yeah,
it's...
I don't know. For me, one thing I loved about The Walking Dead was the fact that they said that it would never be about curing it or, whatever, and I hate to harp on that, but, like, that's the trope of zombie shows, is you see life before the outbreak, you see the outbreak, you see them endure through the outbreak, you see them find the cure, or find the person who's magically immune to the virus. You take them to the science facility. Like, it's radiation now, but how do we know that in Dead City or in the Daryl one in France, how do we know that's not going to be about finding the cure? You know what I mean? Like, to me, that's one of the things that made The Walking Dead separate itself from the classic zombie trope, the classic zombie genre.
Yeah.
Also, how can the hell... I still want to know how the hell is he getting to France? Like, that kind of takes it out of reality for... Well, not much of a reality, but it takes out of reality for me, because it's like...
I still have a theory that
he's
he's making a raft, and he's just gonna, it's gonna take like 16 years to...
With his motorcycle?
Yeah, exactly.
It's a whale. Maybe he rides a whale, or shark, dolphin.
Or be like Pirates of the Caribbean.
He's Moby Dick in it.
turtles, mate.
Yeah.
I wrangled them with my back hair.
Virgil's gonna appear.
Chris goes the USS Minnow.
Yeah.
Is it a 3-hour tour, though?
Yeah. And I think that'd be a little more than a 3 hour tour. Yeah, and then now Carol ends up there too. So yeah, no idea how that happens.
Yeah.
So
Carol's just gonna stay in Alexandria with the kids.
Yep.
No, because they say she's over filming for season 2.
Are you kidding me? Wait, haven't filmed season 2 already when they haven't even premiered season 1?
Well, they finished, but yeah, they've been filming season 2 for probably
They announced that like a month, 2 months ago. Yeah, something like that. It was a while ago.
I'm not excited for it, so I haven't been paying attention.
Yeah, because they had the French, like people were posting all the like looking for actors and stuff for season 2.
Yeah.
So
maybe see how season 1.
But I mean, AMC hasn't announced it. What?
Maybe see how season 1 is doing first. Just saying.
I'm infinitely more excited for Dead City than I am for whatever Norman Reedus is going over in France.
So yeah. Well, I will. Okay, so I have only watched the first episode of Dead City because I want to savor it. I have all of them, but I want to savor it. And
I can't wait.
I'm just going to tell you all that I mean, I wrote just a small review because I don't like to write like these big lengthy reviews and spoil things for people because it's not fair. And, but it's, it's one of those things I was sharing with these guys that the one quote that I used was that it's comfortable for diehard Walking Dead fan. Dead City is comfortably familiar until it becomes drastically different, and it's just so good. And I mean, I think people who are Negan fans are going to love Dead City.
Yep. If
you are, a Jeffrey Dean Morgan or a Negan fan, you are going to love it. The new characters that they've introduced are really good. Just like I said, I've only watched the one episode so far because I didn't want to have too much information going into this podcast and everything. But new characters so far they're very interesting, and it's you just especially for you that know New York very well, it just I don't even know it very well, and I'm just like, this is incredible. It's just, and it's so we're so used to the woods and the same kind of look to everything, and this is nothing like it. Just nothing.
That's actually one of the sorry, go ahead.
No, it's just amazing. Yeah.
And when you mentioned the city, that's actually one of the biggest reasons I'm so excited about it, because for Ryan, Chris, and I, like you said, New York is like in our backyard.
Yeah.
So it's just, I can't wait to see like a zombified Madison Square Garden, seeing what Times Square is going to look like. I cannot wait, because I think I'm going to be going to the city sometime next month. So I'm going to be like, hey, well, a walker was killed right there. That person was bit there. Like, I'm going to be geeking out big time. Then, of course, add Maggie and Negan into it.
Yeah, and I was worried about like things seeming too forced between Maggie and Negan.
Yeah.
But it doesn't. They've just done a very, very good job with it.
And that's a credit to Lauren and Jeffrey. They're both phenomenal actors, and
they're executive producers on the series. So I love that, because I had watched an interview with them, and they said that was not a thing they thought that they would do next, but it just worked out, and they were glad they did. But it just wasn't the next step that they just didn't know that's where they were going to go. To be on that side of things, and I think that helps, because they know what they listen. You know what I mean? They see the fan response. They see what fans like and enjoy, and are probably more in tune with that than a lot of the others. The directors and things like that.
The one thing I'm not looking forward to, and this is kind of not about the show, it's about the fan base. I'm not looking forward to the amount of people going, "Oh, Negan and Maggie are going to get together now." Like, no. But
they've even said even the showrunner. He's like, that's not what we're doing at all. I think Jeffrey D. Morgan even said that. They're like, that's not the tension between the characters. They said, and this, I'm not saying this, the showrunner has said this, that tension is still there. He was excited to have that tension there to work from and
to amplify it.
Yeah. So so I'm excited. I can't wait till you guys watch it so we can talk about it, because I'm dying to talk to somebody.
Do you know how hard I've been trying so hard to avoid watching it and avoiding spoilers, because I want to see it, but I like my Sunday night tradition of Chinese food, and
well, it doesn't even come out till tomorrow, so you haven't had the opportunity.
Oh, I thought it came out. No, wait, that was. Oh, I'm getting. Wait, what?
Nope.
Oh, it's Wednesday.
It premieres on AMC Plus tomorrow.
Yeah, so that you haven't had it. Yeah.
I've been sitting in my inbox for 2 weeks. My days are all messed up. I really thought it was late in my inbox
for 2. Yeah, and I've been just I just want to binge it so bad, but I'm trying to savor it.
I'm trying to stay off social media though, because a lot of people saw it air yesterday at the premieres that they were doing. Yeah. So I'm like, one, I know Twitter is absolutely not a safe zone. And I kind of just want to experience The Walking Dead the way we used to.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because, and we talked about this, I forgot which panel it was at the camp that we talked about this, but it's like, things are spoiled before they even air.
Yeah.
you get more information out of a teaser trailer now than you did out of a full-length trailer 6 years ago. You know what I mean? And
for sure.
So I want to experience things firsthand. I don't want to watch what happens before it airs. You know what I mean? Like I want to experience it, and that's why I'm staying off social media.
That's like with movies. Even I rarely watch a trailer for movies anymore, because I feel like I've watched the whole movie.
You know what? Last summer, it's funny you mention that. For the very first time, I went to go see a movie in theaters. I did not watch the trailer at all, and it wound up being one of my favorite movies of the year, Black Phone.
Mm-hmm.
And it was, I need to start doing that. I need to be like, oh, okay, this movie sounds, I'm going to go by how it sounds in the description.
Yep.
And I feel like that's going to help me with my movie watching.
Yep.
Because, everything gets given away. But I like that people are or studios are starting to film scenes that aren't in the movie just for the trailer.
Yep.
But then you have people that are like, oh, well, this wasn't in the movie. Well, what's the point? Like,
That's exactly the point. Yeah. I love that.
I hate to bring it back to comic books, but it was like Spider-Man No Way Home.
Exactly.
You watch the trailer, and there was the scene with Wong, Doctor Strange, and Spider-Man in the Sanctum, and Wong was about to step through a portal to go somewhere that we now know he was going to help Shang-Chi, which we now know, but at the time we didn't know that. But I forgot what he had said in the trailer. He said something, and Doctor Strange had said something after he stepped through the portal to Peter, and the portal closed. And when the movie aired, the way that it was filmed was completely different. Like, the camera angles were the same, but the lines that were spoken and the content of that scene was very different than what they put in the trailer.
yeah.
So I was like, okay, well, you know, I would have thought that was intentional, but I think for them it was them refilming it. But I was like, I part of me hoped that it was something that they did intentionally to, like...
They did it intentionally. They filmed one take of the actual line and then a take of the trailer line. That way they didn't have to redress the set.
Okay.
And that way when they go to edit the trailer, they just have to pull that clip instead of having to redo the scene, because that's more money for everyone, paying the actors, paying the crew.
I would have just assumed that they would have just taken the scene from the film, from filming it, and just used that for the trailer. Okay.
Well, they do. So, like, say the scene is the same, but there's one line that's different. They'll have that actor, while filming that scene, do that line.
Well, the whole scene was different. It wasn't just one line. The whole scene was different.
Then they probably, because I don't really remember the trailer all too well.
Yeah.
So they filmed that on the same day that they filmed that. But I'd say that with No Way Home, the funniest thing with that trailer is when you see all the villains and Spider-Man going up, and then there's two big gaps, and you just know there's villains there, and then the next day Marvel re-uploads the trailer and it's gone.
Yep. Well,
I remember
it's like
watching it live, and everybody's like, "What?"
It's like the one promo image that they released accidentally, and it was Tom Holland's Spider-Man, and he was swinging across this gap, and you saw Electro, you saw Lizard, and you saw these they were jumping across at him, and you saw the Lizard. His jaw was like this, like he had just been punched, and
there's nobody punching him,
and there was nobody punching him. So people were like, what, you know what? So that was funny, because then, like, I think like the next day they re-released it.
Yes.
And they had photoshopped it or whatever to make it look like he was just looking straight ahead now and not being punched. And I'm like, well, damage is done. You know, people have already screenshotted it and stuff like that. And Andrew Garfield has a really bad poker face. So it's like, you know. And
plus all the leaked images have been coming out for weeks. Like, I remember there was one of Andrew Garfield where he was kind of like this.
Oh, hanging off the scaffolding.
Yeah, and everyone's like, oh no, look at that. And then, lo and behold, that exact scene was in the movie.
Yep.
So I just rewatched the clip. It popped up on my TikTok today. The scene where Andrew Garfield comes through the portal, and Zendaya is just throwing the bread at him, and he has to just, like, hang on.
Yeah.
That's such a golden scene. I love it.
It really is.
Oh, by the way, I forgot to tell you, we're talking about the Dead City premiere last night. I forgot. So I told you guys, like, a friend of mine got to ask JDM a question, and she said at some point during it, I don't know if it was during the question, but Hillary Burton was there and was walking, like, right behind her, and I was like, that was your chance. You could have asked Lucille a question while wearing a Lucille shirt. Missed opportunity.
That would have been awesome.
They were saying how much, like, the cast was, like, interacting with the fans, and it was great. But I wanted to hear about people going to, because, like, all over, I know you guys saw the social media all over New York today. They were, like, giving away stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know anybody that went to do it.
When Renee sent us, I think you sent us the whole list of everything. I was like, oh, I really want to go, but it didn't work out with, like, work and stuff like that. But I was like, I really wanted to go down to the city.
I was like, you guys, somebody has to go, because I can't go. So somebody has to go to New York and go to all these places. Because
my one friend tried to, and she said the line was insane.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
I saw people also had, like, Funko Pops of Negan and Maggie, and they actually got them signed by JDM and Lauren Cohen, and I was just like, oh my god. And I have the black and white blood splatter Negan that I bought for like $15 at Toys R Us before Toys R Us closed.
He's right here.
And now it's one of the more expensive Walking Dead pops to buy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and that's actually the one that Chris had brought to a convention and waited online for hours
Oh, yeah.
for KDN to sign, and he ended up not showing up because the photo ops were so far behind.
Oh no.
Yeah. Yep. And Chris bought it specifically for that reason too. But I saw people like, getting those signed, and I'm just like, oh fuck.
I still have my Maggie Funko. I'm thankful that it didn't shoot like. So I bought it. It was like $35. I was like, all right, watch my luck. I'm gonna buy it. It's gonna drop in value. No, it's actually held its values. I'm like, all right. I don't feel so bad.
Which bag you on?
I think it was the original Maggie.
Mm-hmm.
I bought it like years ago,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just been sitting on my shelf, hanging out there. A lot. I'm trying to get rid of a lot of them though, because there's like the duplicate Daryls, the duplicate Carols. You know, I only need one of each.
Somehow I got like the new. So the season 11, what was it? Daryl, Carol, and Maggie.
Mhm.
I think they were. I don't know. I think they were 11s, and I had already gotten Daryl and Carol. I think I don't remember. And then all of a sudden, all three of them came in the mail again. I'm like, I don't know where they came from. Josh, I said, did you order them for me? He's like, I don't remember, because they were like on back order for a long time.
Oh yeah.
So now I've got. I don't think I have double. I think I have Carol and Daryl doubles, but not Maggie. I think I don't have Maggie, so I'll keep that one. But I don't know what I'm going to do with the other ones. But anyway,
I think I have double alpha. No, wait, no, I have masked alpha and regular alpha. So I'm like,
yeah, I've got both of those. Yeah, right here.
yeah, I think I'm gonna keep masked alpha. That one looks better. The other one just looks like a.
Yeah, I like the bold one though too. I think it's cool. Yeah.
I don't know. I'm like,
Oh, and then,
yours. I'm like trying to pick out
Since
which
here
one.
just mentioned the flock, the dog.
I love flock
That's
dog.
my favorite.
I want
I got
flock dog.
some- Oh shoot! I had two of them, and I gave one to my grandkids because they loved it so much.
Yeah, I remember you told me that. I was like, ah.
A flocked dog.
Oh, so you know what I
Yeah,
really
I got-
want, and it's rare. RV Walker.
I have RV Walker.
Yeah.
It's one of my prized possessions.
I wanted so badly.
I have the teddy bear girl. I got her autographed.
Was that Addie Miller?
Yep.
Right, Addie Miller.
She
Yeah.
was at the first. She was at the Dead Bash.
Oh yeah, that's right. She was.
I think it'd be cool if they made a Bicycle Girl Funko.
Yeah.
Mm.
I would love to see them actually pull that off with the mold.
I also have the Well Walker.
Oh,
I love that
What's
one.
your favorite?
Yeah, and my favorite one I have is Eugene. I actually have Josh McDermott signed it for me, and it's
Yeah.
Eugene wearing the cargo shorts and like the fishing vest, and he's got the jar of pickles in his hand. And what's funny
What license
is
plate is that behind you?
Oh yeah, I do have Eugene. I got Eugene right here with the little pickles.
Walker bait. That's great.
Oh, yeah, that was on my car.
Was it really?
Okay. See, there was a glare, so I was having trouble
Oh,
figuring it out.
Mm.
Love it.
What's great about my Eugene Funko Pop is when Josh McDermott signed it, he signed it like in quotations Eugene, but then next to it he drew a pickle. So I was like, all right,
I didn't give this to my grandkids.
nice.
So I have two of them now. Who's gonna do me something awesome and get it?
I mean, I have one already.
At the risk of sounding weird, there's not a lot I wouldn't do for that pop. I'm just saying.
Well, Meg says she has one. I thought she said she didn't have it. So.
No, I do.
So there's no game. So
Ryan would do anything for dogs.
If I had to put a skirt on and start dancing, I would do it. I'm just saying.
only if it's the can.
At this point, I don't have much of a dignity, so you know it's.
No, I got mine in the supply drop.
Do I have? Oh, that's actually a really good question.
Yeah, that you just read about the random
Tahira? Yeah.
no name.
I actually said this during the panels. RV Walker, favorite, hands down. And Lori Holden
Oh,
won
she
a
said
random.
No name.
Oh,
no
no
name.
name.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Random. I don't know if this one has a name. Because I do remember in, I think it was the season 9 opener. It was the walker that had the spider crawling out of it when they went to Washington.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if that. Yeah, probably didn't have a name.
Because it was so cool how they pulled it off.
Yeah,
But I have to say that.
I don't know that I have a specific no-name walker. But the scene when Maggie had just come back and she was in that house and it was like, you know what I'm talking about? And like,
And like 10C?
was it? Yeah, I think it was 10C. Yeah. And we saw some of those walkers. Was it in the house, right?
I don't really remember the C episode.
I'm trying to remember it, but I think it was those walkers that she was fighting in the house.
Wait, yeah, was that the house that she and like her group were like kind of
Yeah.
gathering together at, and like nobody was there?
Yes.
Okay, I remember the house, but I don't remember the walkers in it. Like, what made that one like special to you?
Well, Maggie's one of my favorite characters,
Right,
and it always has been. I've
Mhm.
always loved Maggie, and I don't know. For me, it just that's when I started to feel like it was The Walking Dead again, and I don't know why I started feeling that way, but like watching it, I just started picking
OG was
up.
back.
I just started picking up on elements of The Walking Dead again, and that's when I feel like they started to turn a corner.
Okay.
What about you,
I can see
Renee?
that. And because they really pulled it off well, like with like the C episodes being so
Yeah.
limited in filming, having maybe like 2-3 actors tops, but they did it really well. What about you, Renee?
I know. I was trying to think. There's, I think about like in the beginning, in Atlanta, like all the ones those first ones that like on the bus and on the
Oh, yeah.
because that's back when they were kind of that was Frank Darabont's version, so they were doing the things that they did, and that kind of stuff. So they were sitting on the bus and they were doing those different things. So I like those because they were doing things that they did before they were
Yeah.
turned into walkers. So I think a lot of those I liked.
Oh, like when the one that were like sitting in the car or something.
Well, yeah, like right, and when Rick gets into Atlanta, when sitting on the bus,
Oh, right, yeah, I forgot about that one.
Yeah, like I just thought that because those were like they were doing the things that they remembered doing. Like they had a little bit of something in their brain that they remembered. Oh, this is what I did. I get on the bus and sit on the and go, on the bus or whatever. Those things in Atlanta, I just thought those were cool because they were, and I love those because they were Frank Darabont's version of what he wanted the walkers to be like.
Yeah.
And then when he got canned, then they changed them back to the dumb, walkers.
And then what you said though about the little bit of memory, that kind of, when we saw Jenny in that episode and she was kind of going back to the house every night, that kind of helped further that
was because that was all Frank Darabont. Yeah, that was why they were like that. Yeah,
there's a reason why season 1 and 2 are my favorites. Like
and that's
especially 2. Now I was rewatching it before the camp and I got to season 4, but now I kind of want to just forget the later seasons and go back and rewatch the first 4 all over again.
I know. I always go back and watch. Like if I'm writing an article, I'll go back and watch a clip to get like a quote the right way because people like sometimes you can look them up online, but they're not always right.
Yeah.
So I'll go pull the episode and I'm like, what the heck? I've been sitting here 30 minutes watching this episode. I gotta write this article.
It's so easy just to get back into it. Just get a couple snacks. And just oh wait, I feel like Chris now. Like
Chris mentioned one with the Rock. Basking in the window at the department store.
If I'm not mistaken.
What?
That was episode 2 when they were trying to escape the mall.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they were down the
That was a good one.
Yeah, but they were it's just those I love those walkers. But then I think I asked who is one of your favorite characters. So I guess you just mentioned Maggie, but like who's your second favorite character? Because I think everyone knows our favorite.
I don't know if anybody knows my favorite. Do you know?
Is it Aaron?
No. He's just my husband.
Yeah, that's right. No, Ross is your husband, right?
Ross is my husband.
I don't know.
I feel like I do, but I forgot. I totally can't think of it. Yeah, I think you've told me, but I no.
It's Tara.
Yes, I did.
Oh, yes, I did know that. Yeah.
So Daryl's my favorite, but Aaron's my second favorite.
That's a.
I feel like the rest of them kind of get like my other favorites kind of get all like share the title of number 2.
My second favorite is Father Gabriel.
Yeah, that's a good one.
And that's not even just me being partial because I love Seth and he's such a great guy and I've become we've all become friends with him, but also because I think that he had one of the largest character developments in the entire series.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, you talk about meeting him in the church, you know what I mean, and like seeing who he was and the coward that he was.
Yes.
And then you see how he went out, the way he, not went out, but how they ended the season, how they ended the series with him. He was a completely different person.
Mm-hmm. Oh, for sure.
And same with Eugene. You know what I mean? That's why I think that probably my top 3 are probably Maggie, Father Gabriel, and Eugene.
Mhm.
And as much I love to bitch about Eugene, I will give him credit that he was well written and that he had a lot of character development.
He did. 'Cause a lot of people are just like, Eugene, he's a cry, he's a wimp. But if it wasn't for him, a lot of people wouldn't have made it out.
Yep.
Mhm.
I think for second character, it kind of flip flops. It's either Maggie or Carol, depending on the season. Yeah.
I can't with Carol.
Carol's up there for me too, because I kind of the same thing with Carol. Her transformation, I loved seeing her transformation. You know, like I always, whenever I read an article about Carol, I always think about like when when she was bashing Ed's head in with pickaxe or whatever. She, that was like, she was taking all that aggression, years of abuse out on that man's head. And just from that point, she was able to make a turn, and then just from there, she just was able to, and like, I wrote an article one time about how, like her hair, I know we're at the end when she cut her hair again, but like the fact that she let her hair grow out was a sign that she felt safe again because she could keep her hair long. She kept it short so he couldn't grab it and drag her around.
Yep.
So she always kept it short. And so when she had her long hair, she felt safe. She felt like, hey, I can do this because no one's going to be, ripping me up off the ground by my hair or whatever. And just things like that. But yeah, I think Carol, she's probably my number 3.
See, if we had that level of writing the entire 11 seasons.
Oh my God.
I mean, it would have been probably the greatest TV show ever written.
Yeah. I gotta say, because I know a lot of people actually argue this because there's, I agree with what Brian is saying about Father Gabriel having, the biggest growth. But a lot of people argue that it was Carol because of exactly those reasons that Renee mentioned. Mm-hmm. So I feel like both of them had the best character growth.
And and Pi just mentioned about her not being allowed to die. It was hard for me towards the end to even have an interest in Carol because, they announced she wasn't going to die. So because she was going to be in the spinoff, so she wasn't going to die. So then it was like okay, and then it was like now she's not going to be in the spinoff. So now it's like okay, so it was very difficult. It was very difficult towards the end to. I mean, it was tough.
It was Daryl syndrome all over again. Yeah.
So it just, but with Daryl though, there was at least we knew his story was going to continue. The Carol, they got us all excited. Because they should not have announced those spinoffs. They announced even Jeffrey D. Morgan said that. In an interview, he was like, "That was messed up." He's like, "What in the world? Why did they announce that? That was garbage."
Yeah.
But again,
why would you
spoiling shit? When that should have been a surprise.
I mean, I get they wanted everyone to be excited that there was more to come, but you could have done, I don't know, there could have been many other ways that you did that, and I don't know.
They could have also held off on the announcement until after Walking Dead, they could have aired the teaser trailers immediately following the series finale.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, everybody was so hyped up with seeing Rick, and they could have continued it right from there because it got you. Like, you didn't care about what happened to Negan. I mean, we cared, but you really didn't care about Negan, Maggie, Daryl, and Carol because you knew they were going to be continuing their, well, not Carol anymore, but continuing the story. So it's like, okay, whatever. We know they're safe. They're in the safe zone already. What's happening to the rest of my characters? Mm-hmm. I'm really pissed off about
that. Carol, for me, has always felt like she was invincible. And I don't know.
That's character flaw.
So you know what I mean? Like, one of the things that attracted me to The Walking Dead was that nobody was safe, right? I mean, we've seen them kill off fan favorites all the time, and when a character feels invincible, I don't care about them as much.
Yeah. Well, it ended with Glenn because everybody threw such a fit about Glenn. From that point forward, they stopped. They stopped. They were scared.
Yep.
They were afraid to do anything else. Yep. Prior to that, it didn't matter who it was. You had no idea from episode to episode who was going to, I mean, like Herschel, Beth. I wasn't even a fan of Beth. I was like, I didn't even like Beth. And I mean, like, seriously, it was more Daryl's reaction and Maggie's reaction to Beth's death, but it was still like, what the heck just happened?
And it was worse that it was an accidental death.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That was, I think, what got me the most. Like, she was home free.
Yep.
She's ready to leave. Yeah. And I mean, just yeah, but it was like you said, no one was safe. No one was safe. You didn't know. I mean, Daryl could have gotten killed, or you just had no idea, And then once they killed Glenn, everybody lost. People just lost it, even though you knew it was coming. I mean, it shouldn't have been a surprise, And I mean, it was just they just were afraid. They got afraid, and that's when things got bad for The Walking Dead. The viewership went down, and partly people were like, "Well, I'm never watching it," and they killed Glenn, blah blah blah. But a lot of it was too the fact that from that point forward, they didn't push the boundaries any longer.
Anytime I do a rewatch, I wind up skipping almost the majority of or all of season 8 because that is my least favorite season completely. 7 I can tolerate, but I do watch the finale of 8 because that fight was pretty cool, especially with Eugene and the bullets.
Yeah, that was.
And I'm like, okay, gives me a recap, and then I can go right back into season 9. So it's
6 and 7 were 2 of my favorite seasons.
Really. Okay, so why?
Yeah,
I love the Saviors, and I love the idea. Right, it was 6 and 7 for the Saviors.
Negan got introduced the end of season 6.
But we met the Saviors in second half of 6.
Yeah,
because
so 6 and 7.
Yeah.
But because I love the Saviors, because I think one, they're probably the most interesting group that was met, because it was just ordinary people trying to survive.
Yeah,
there was nothing. They weren't whisperers. They didn't wear the masks. They weren't terminists. They weren't eating people. Like, they were literally just people surviving. And we've talked about this time and time again. But if you were to start The Walking Dead off from the perspective of Negan and not Rick, Rick would be the villain and Negan would be the hero.
Yeah, I've started writing the story.
I've argued that time and time again.
Yes,
and that's why I love it, because it is such. I love writing. Like, you guys know I do it in my spare time. I just like doing it. I don't publish it. For me, it's a therapeutic output. It's a creative output. From the perspective of the hero story, the hero story is flawed. And it just goes to show you that it's a matter of perspective. It's not a matter of who's right or who's wrong, especially in a post-apocalyptic world. What's right and what's wrong is not black and white. It's very much a gray area.
Absolutely.
And it's how far you're willing to go to protect the people that you love and the people you care about. Did Negan do some fucked up shit? Absolutely. But guess what? So did Rick.
Yeah.
Rick did a lot of questionable shit.
Rick absolutely.
Look at all of them. All of them have done questionable things. I mean, because it's survival. It's not. This isn't. I mean, that's what you. It's all survival.
Is there any character that kind of almost got away scot-free?
Without making a major mistake, you're saying?
Yeah. Whether the character's dead or they made it to the end.
Probably Glenn.
Yeah. Glenn and maybe Beth. Apart from when she tried to kill herself.
Yeah, I can't. I mean,
so all the major characters had except for Glenn, like you said. They all did major fuck up somehow or another.
Yeah, because Glenn barely even killed anybody.
Yeah, and when he did it to protect.
Well, it was at the Savior's outpost.
Yeah,
that was the first time. I think wasn't that the first time he killed a person?
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah,
I'm pretty sure.
So we all know Glenn was perfect. I could have sworn he killed before, though, for Maggie.
No, I don't think so.
No, I don't think so. Not at walkers he did, but not a person.
Yeah.
Maybe that's where I'm getting it confused. Yeah.
I agree, Eliza. Eliza said that Glenn was the moral compass of the group.
Absolutely.
And you know what? He was Rick was like the president.
Oh, no, he was captured. That's what it was. He was captured.
Rick was the president, and Glenn was like the vice president. And Glenn was the one who kind of kept him on the straight and narrow.
I miss Glenn.
But Gregory was a weasel and a snake, and you know what?
He did it.
Yeah, he was
to kill a person. He got people to kill people for him.
Yes.
And Glenn wasn't a coward, and Gregory was a coward.
Yeah.
So Gregory hid every chance he could.
I think
when
that
he was about to die, he was pleading.
I think that Gregory could have had a redemption. I think very well
Yeah.
could have had a redemption, just like Gabriel and just like Eugene. If it was written that way, he could have got a redemption for sure.
If it was written that way, yes, but in the way he was written, absolutely not.
No.
Mm-hmm.
If they said, "Hey, we want your character to turn around," he was too far gone at that point.
And Eliza said, in that world, there are no heroes, only survivors, and that is 1,000% the truth. And it's like I said, it's a matter of perspective.
Because if it was, I know we joke about like what would we do if we were in the apocalypse. If it was a story about our group, like the four of us, we would be looked at as the heroes, and anybody else would be looked at the villains. And it's the same thing in every show, really, not even just The Walking Dead. Any show where there's a hero and a villain, it all depends on which viewpoint you're looking at it from.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And that's why I loved the fact that in season 11, where Negan even made a comment to Maggie and was like, "Your people like came in the middle of the night and killed my people in their sleep." Like, you know what I mean? And it was a very cool way of kind of shifting perspective a little bit, right? Because if you didn't put too much thought into it, it was very easy to take the word that, oh, Negan's a bad guy, and that's what Rick did. Rick took it at face value that Negan was a bad guy, and made assumptions, killed Negan's people in their sleep, and it was supposed to be okay. And that's how it was written. That's the perspective that we were given. And if you don't think, if you just go from the perspective of Negan is bad, Rick is good, and you somehow get all the way from season 6 to season 11, the minute Negan says that, you're kind of like, oh shit, you have the past 6 years been a lie? Because it's kind of the truth.
Yeah.
And
you know what happens when you assume.
And you know what? And even I believe Negan even said, like, if I had to kill your husband all over again, I would do it. Like,
Well, he said no. He goes, if I had to do it all over again, I'd kill all of you.
Oh yeah, exactly. You're right.
That's what he said.
Yeah.
And yeah.
And you talk about character development.
Would have solved at least those problems at that time.
Yeah, and you look at Negan, and Negan had a lot of character development from when we met him to season 11.
Mm-hmm.
But this is a man who was saying, like, I did what I had to do to protect my people. The only difference is I would have killed all of you. You know what I mean? And like that's huge, because guess what? If Rick could go back in time and kill all Negan's people in one shot, he would absolutely do it.
And we would have been praising Rick.
And it would have been all over social media what a hero Rick is.
Yep. Thank God Negan is like the best villain, like the villain that everybody loves. Because if it was anybody else, everybody would have been on social media like throwing a riot.
Yep.
Yeah, well, it's Jeffrey Dean Morgan. That's what it is, because he knows how to play. Like David Morrissey was amazing as the governor. Like the governor to me was like, I think he's the worst villain on The Walking Dead. Like he was, because I don't think there's ever a chance for him to have a redemption ever, because he
never could.
You know what I mean? Like at least Negan had the chance. Like you could see where that would go. But I mean, like, I think if you look at the worst villains, I think it's the governor, because he could never have been redeemed. Negan had, would and could and has, but I think Jeffrey Dean Morgan is the reason Negan is so well loved, because of what he brings, to the character and everything. And what I'm excited, like Dead City. So the pro-ot is that 𝐁𝐞𝐚𝐳𝐭𝐲 plays him, and he is. So what Jeffrey Dean Morgan has said about this, so he's the one who he abducts Herschel, and they track him to Manhattan. And this isn't spoiling anything. This is all in the trailer. Jeffrey Dean Morgan says that the pro-ot was an underling of Negan's. So you assume the saviors, because I don't know what else Negan would have been in that he would have underlings, right? But what Jeffrey Dean Morgan has said about him is that he has taken evil to a place that Negan never would have thought to go. So I'm like, well, Negan did some pretty evil things. And so I'm very interested to see more of what this guy is going to be. So it should be, yeah. So I'm hoping we get some good backstory on this as well, and not just, oh, here he is and whatever, I want to know.
Probably about like episode 2 or 3. It'd be a cool way to start episode 2, actually.
Yeah, I would think so. Yeah.
I,
So
I think
I'm
Eliza had a
excited,
really
so.
good point. I think it'd be something along the lines of willing to hurt kids, because you
Mhm.
look at Negan, and he didn't hurt Carl. You know what I mean? Like, you know,
Oh, he didn't hurt.
he had the opportunity to hurt them multiple times over and didn't.
Mhm.
And he even said to Rick, he goes, he goes, what did he say? I even fed your kid pasta, or what did he say to him?
Yeah.
Spaghetti.
I fed your kid spaghetti.
Spaghetti.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I think I think Eliza's onto something with that. I think that might be along the path of what's, you know.
Now, I have a question from before when you guys talked about like the villains before. Renee, you said the governor was the worst. Now, when you say the worst, do you think I know what you meant about like not having any redemption? Do you think it was like the worst as in like he was like he was like your least favorite? Or,
No, I mean, like, I just think he's the worst, like,
out of all the villains.
Yeah. I mean, because
he's my favorite villain. That's why I
like him. No. I love him as a villain, and I mean, David Morrissey is like an amazing actor and everything. But I just mean, like, I don't know. I'm not using the right word, I guess. Like, he's the villainous villain. I don't know.
Okay, yeah, yeah. Because some people are like, oh, he's the worst. Yeah. Then it's like, like the bottom of the rankings.
No. Like, when I watch those episodes, I'm just like, oh my gosh, this guy's the worst. You know, because like
he's the top of the chart for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no redeeming qualities to him. There's no chance in the world. I mean, the man kept his, reanimated daughter locked, chained in a thing. He had his head in a thing. He's just awful. And I mean, even, he just was so obsessed with, Michonne and
his blinders on.
He had to kill her. He had to, you know what I mean? And there was nothing that was ever going to change his mind. And
when I met him, I think it was pandemic last year, and I told him I was like, you were my favorite villain. I was like, you scared the shit out of me. He's like, I did my job.
Yep.
And I was like, yeah. And meanwhile, he's like 6 feet tall. I'm like, hi.
Yeah. And he's just such a nice. I've met him in interviews and stuff. Yeah. And he does like all these he's British, so he does a lot of British TV and things and shows and whatever. But he does the British baking show, whatever that is. He does like
Bake Off or something.
Yeah, whatever. He does their Cure for Cancer episode every year.
Yeah.
Or I don't know every year, but he does them often, and they raise money for cancer, research. I know it's like just funny because we know him as the governor that he's off doing these great things.
He was at a convention near me. I think it was last year, and I wanted to go see him again, but I couldn't. And now I'm kicking myself, so I want to see him again.
Yeah.
But hopefully in the next year or so I can.
Yeah.
But Dead City, what are your hopes and hopes for the episodes? Or what do you hope to get out of this first season? Do you think they will rescue Herschel by the end of the first season, or do you think it might lead into season 2?
Unpopular opinion, but I hope Herschel dies.
I don't think Herschel will die.
I don't think he's gonna. Once we saw who they cast, he's not gonna die.
I don't think he'll die. I feel like they will rescue him. But you've got the Croat is one villain, or a villain, and then you've got Curly Armstrong, who guys Charles plays. He is also after Negan. He's Marshal of New Babylon, which is like a federation of city-states that have come together. So he's a marshal who's hunting Negan down also. So we don't know, you know what I mean? Like, Negan's kind of got people coming at him from all sides, kind of, because then, so it's one of those things, like, how is he getting out of all these messes that he's in, kind of thing. Then, there's this girl, Jenny, that we don't know much about. Like, we just know there's a girl, Jenny, and who is she, what's going on, So there's that other piece, because they she's obviously a character in the forefront, because she's like at all of the, like today when we did our interviews, she was in the group that I interviewed. So so Jenny, because today I interviewed Jenny, the Croat, and Curly Armstrong. So I interviewed those actors, and she has been in all the promos and all that kind of stuff. So she is going to be a prominent figure. What is her role? So there's a lot of moving pieces, but I do think they'll rescue Herschel. I don't think he'll die. Sorry, Ryan.
Yeah.
But
couldn't stand him.
Yeah. So it's real. What?
I said I couldn't stand him. So.
What did you say?
He couldn't stand.
He's a new actor. Maybe you like this guy better.
Maybe. As a kid, I couldn't understand. I couldn't stand him.
I think
Yeah.
what's gonna
Well,
happen.
it's a new actor. He's an older kid.
Yeah.
His
He's from
name's
Ghostbusters
Wilmington.
Afterlife.
Yeah, he was in Afterlife. Yeah, he was
okay.
that kid in that. So
I
yeah.
think.
Yeah, and they don't.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say what I thought was gonna happen.
I just don't know what else to expect. Yeah.
I think it's gonna end on like they're gonna rescue Herschel, but I think it's gonna Negan's fate is going to be left up, or something's gonna happen to Negan. And it's gonna be ended on a cliffhanger, and that's gonna. I mean, he's not gonna die, but I feel like something's gonna happen that we don't know what's gonna
I
happen.
hope not, because that to me wouldn't be a cliffhanger, because they're not gonna kill Negan.
True.
Negan's another character that, in my eyes, is invincible.
Yeah, I mean, he's like a Daryl or a Rick. You're not gonna kill him, you know.
That's one thing I hate about this.
I know.
I love Walking Dead, but it's one thing I hate. There's too many invincible characters.
Eliza with the friggin' hate bang. Jesus Christ.
Oh, hate bang. Oh my gosh, stop it already.
Did I not say about the fandom? Did I not say it?
Yeah.
Oh, the show hasn't even premiered yet. It's happening.
That's all Chris is going to talk about when we start covering episodes.
Yep.
Then we have to go back. Now that he's not in the chat anymore, we have to go back at him talking about fear.
I think even Pi said hashtag Neggy earlier, you know?
I did see that.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys, please.
Hashtag riding solo. Hashtag no hate bang.
I'm excited for it.
Alicia just said she's curious to see what happened to Annie, and absolutely, we better find something out.
There's so many. They better not pull what they did with Fear and have it be like no mention again. Yeah, exactly. I don't think they will though.
Takira, I do believe AMC Plus is still airing early. Last I heard they were airing tomorrow. Both the Fear episodes.
Yeah. So tomorrow AMC Plus will have Fear mid-season finale and the debut of Dead City.
The only things that I think that AMC will not air early is series finales, like they did with
they
Walking
said they're
Dead.
Not airing the series finale.
Fear the Walking Dead series finale they won't air.
Correct,
early.
just like they did with Walking Dead. They didn't air it early.
Because that's just too.
Which I wholeheartedly agree with. I think that is a phenomenal idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But and I like that they're only doing a couple days. I like that they're doing only 3 days or Thursday
compared to the week
ahead instead of a week.
Yeah.
Because it just gets too much. Because then, on the podcast, people that have AMC Plus, they would start talking about the next episode in the chat, and we're like, no, stop talking about that. I haven't seen it yet.
That's one thing that we will never do. We will never talk about it on this podcast until it is aired on AMC itself.
Yes, because you guys, I will not do that, because I'll lose all my privileges as a writer, and I'm not. We're not risking any of that, and we're not gonna spoil it for anybody.
What it's like to be spoiled.
Exactly.
And you know what? And
want to spoil it
it's unrealistic to assume that everybody has every subscription service out there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it is. There's so many freaking subscription services that it costs more than cable TV used to. You know what I mean? Like, so we don't want to assume that anybody has AMC Plus, and I don't ever want people to feel left out to say that like, oh, you like it and come back later. No, we'll talk about it when it's out for everybody. And give everybody a chance to watch it, and everybody feel included.
With our schedules, there's no way we can do it.
Yeah, exactly.
True.
Well, but even though before it was because they would both air on Sunday.
Yep.
So then we would have the ASC and the AMC Plus, and I hate that.
Yep.
It was just because. Yeah, and because and people wouldn't think about it in the chat. Like when we were talking about the one episode, they would start to talk about, and we would have to hey, stop. And then they weren't trying to spoil anything. They were they watched it and didn't think, somebody else did that one yet,
Yeah.
So
I mean, I get it. People get excited. I get it, but it's just
absolutely. But we just don't
that's really all it comes down to.
Yep.
Exactly, and that because I drives me crazy because I like on Undead on Twitter, if people do spoilers, I delete them. I mean, they're not. I'm not going to have them on my page because I can't. I don't want spoilers on there. At all.
I just remember.
I guess I'm making fun of my camera is freezing and I'm making funny faces.
Oh yeah, no, it's been freezing the whole time. It's very.
It must be the It must be the tornado warning.
It's my eldest storms coming through. At least it quit hailing, so that's good.
The only time something in Walking Dead got spoiled. Well, a couple of things that gotten spoiled for me, but the one thing that bugged me so badly, the Pikes. The lineup of the Pikes got spoiled, and I was like, Tara and Enid? No.
Oh, no.
I'm seeing the
Don't forget Henry.
dark hair. I didn't care about Henry. I see the dark hair, and I was like, no. I screamed when that happened, and it was bad. But like, I think it would have been worse if I wasn't spoiled.
Yeah,
that would have been just a worse reaction. I probably would have just died, but not on a pike. But that was the one spoiler that really got me, and even before then, I vowed I would never spoil it for anyone, but now especially, Two of my favorites, R.I.P. They weren't invincible. We need to hang out with Carol more. But guys, I'm ready for this episode.
I am too.
I'm stoked for it.
I am absolutely watching it tomorrow for sure.
Do not tell me anything in our text.
I literally just talked about how I don't spoil shit for people. I would not
You
have
can
spoiled
text
for
me, right?
you.
Because I want to talk to somebody about
Okay,
it. Text me.
I will.
If anybody watches it, you can text me.
Absolutely.
If my AMC Plus is still activated, I might watch it. I know I said I want to hold out, but I'm too excited. Especially all my friends have seen it already.
Yeah. I am more excited for Dead City than I have been for any Walking Dead show or season in a long time, so.
Yeah.
I don't know.
They're doing great marketing with it, too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I haven't seen Walking Dead do this much marketing, even on their own show, I feel like.
Yeah.
Since, pre-pandemic.
Right, like even for the finale, they hardly, it wasn't like this. They've just done, which I think they realize they need to up their game.
I think they learn from their mistakes. Absolutely.
So what I was thinking though, I was like, as I'm watching all this stuff unfold, and there's announcing all these, and because we get the press announcement saying, okay, this is what they're doing or whatever, and I'm like, what are they going to do when Rick and Michonne release? Because people, oh my gosh, can you imagine?
I think I need to stay off social media that day.
Well, I know I'm just being marketing wise. I think they're going to go crazy. I think that's going to,
like how do you market Rick and Michonne without spoiling anything? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Well, there's already been so much. I just hate. There's that one site, and they are just like, I don't know. They've got people everywhere just taking pictures. On filming and everything else, and I don't know how they're getting all these images, but they just share them all over social media, and I hate it.
A few people on Twitter that I've muted that somebody
too.
that lives in my state.
It's too, because it's too spoiler. And
yeah.
I mean, there's things, I don't know. I mean, probably, maybe not, but I don't like to see filming stuff. I don't like to see anything. If it's just like fan pictures and stuff like that, that's fine. But I don't like to see it when they're like right there and everything like that, because there's too much that you can,
I'm sorry if this offends anybody that does this, but I can't stand that personally.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to see pictures that some fan took of them filming an episode, because I just don't want to see that. Like I want to experience it firsthand, just watching it, but two, what you're taking a picture of may not even be in the episode.
Yeah.
Because like 20% of what they maybe 10 to 15% of what they film may not be in the episode. So you don't even know. Like, so then you're giving people stuff that may not even be accurate to what's going to be in the episode. I'm very weird about that. I mute that stuff immediately.
We all know they filmed it along with Dead City. They filmed Summit in New Jersey, and I did drive past one of the filming locations. So it was right by my house. But there was somebody I used to follow on Twitter, and they hopped from location to location. And like it was like stalking, and it was getting so annoying. I had to unfollow them.
I know. Yeah, there were several that I did too, just because. That's fine for you, but I don't want to see it. So I just
no. To each their own. If you enjoy that, please feel free. Not my thing.
If I want to be spoiled on something, I will seek it out myself. Don't shove it down my throat.
Yep.
That's not fair to the person who the person behind me who may not want to be spoiled.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah.
Long story short, spoilers suck, and if you post spoilers, you suck. So,
and that's our story, and we're sticking to it. So
And on that note,
that's what really grinds my guts, guys.
That was a very big grinding of the guts.
It was.
Yeah.
That was a very evolved show we just did. That was very we kind of went all over the place, but I love it.
That's what we do.
We don't know what direction it's going to take us.
What was that?
we don't know what direction the show will ever take us.
No, but I like that. I feel like we had so many new people in the chat tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We appreciate you guys.
And
Yeah.
I love that. I love. I love seeing all our usuals, but I love seeing fresh faces too.
Yes, we
Well,
appreciate you guys.
Fresh named on a list, I
Yep.
should say.
Yeah, we know them all.
We
It's-
know them.
Yeah, we know who they are. But we're very glad you guys joined us tonight, and we'll be back next week to talk some Dead City, and we'll see if we talk Fear. I don't know. I guess it depends on how that, what everybody thinks. I know Ryan won't talk and Chris won't talk about it, but Megan and I may have a few things to say about the
Maybe
mid-season.
we'll do
finale.
like 10 minutes on
Yeah.
fear.
Yeah.
And then
The
we'll
rest.
talk Dead.
Because
Then
we
it'll be
have so
Dead
much
City.
to say on Dead
Yeah.
City.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
think, yeah. So guys, join us. We don't know what day. Just watch our socials because depends on these boys' work schedules. They're crazy. These boys work crazy hours and long hours, and I don't know how they do it. And they sleep. I don't know when they sleep actually, but
30-minute power naps.
yeah, I
Just
think that's
saying.
what it is.
Dude, I
Yeah.
got to sleep in so late today. I called out of work today because I wasn't really feeling well. And I woke up again. Well, I woke up. I had my alarm set. I hit snooze, and the next thing I know, it was like 8:30, and I was like, oh, I should probably just call out at this point.
Yeah.
So I called out, and then I slept till like 12, and I woke up and I just see like text messages about like Ryan and Chris about a computer, and I'm like, all right, I should probably eat something.
The hard part is I work overnights now, so it's
Yeah.
like it's texting people. I'm like, I texted a couple friends of mine, and I'm like, oh fuck, it's 3 a.m. Like normal people aren't awake right now. Oh shit.
Usually I'm a night owl, so usually if I will answer if I'm awake.
Fair enough.
So I got you in that category. So if you're ever on break and you're bored, Christopher and
I
I will
got
be
you.
in Snoozeville.
But I'll text you. Don't worry. But thank everybody for showing up.
Thank you.
Like Meg said, thank you for everybody that normally does show up. But to the people who are just recently tuning in, we really do appreciate you guys. And the more back and forth you guys give us, like you did today, that makes our content better. So we just really genuinely appreciate you guys. And without you guys, this wouldn't be what it is. So thank you.
Yes, thank you so much.
Absolutely. I think that's it. I think that's all we got. What do you think, guys?
Bye, guys.
All right.
See you next
Have
week.
a good night. If I can find, oh god, I can't find the mouse.
Oh god.
All right, we're good. Don't worry. Bye, guys.
Renee, Chris, and Ryan going live. Best podcast, Beauty and the Beast. Sit back and catch a vibe. Oh yeah, we talking zombies and apocalypses and all those things you like. Going beast mode, and if you didn't know, it's Peter Z up on the mic. Whoa, hey, TWD family, grab the snacks about the pantry and subscribe and like if you can, please. Or those walkers eat you like some candy. Hey, okay. You at the right place at the right time. No one does it better, that's the bottom line. Beauty and the Beast, this is prime time. Let's go.